Okay, this is an extra special stream. Thought about doing this for a while. And uh, Fig, Fig, if any of you know Figma fan, obviously this is a CatCraft stream slash not CatCraft stream. I am basically doing, hang on, hang on. Let me turn up the music just a wee little bit. Well, let me okay. Um, so we we're prepping a build for CatCraft. This is my normal go-to, oh, there we go. Actually, that works better. This is my normal go-to method when I'm doing large builds. Come in here into my creative world. For any of you who are on CatCraft and have seen my area, the Viking clan area, you'll recognize that structure over there, which is completely, well, no, it's not completely done actually. It's actually a lot left to be done on server for that. The front, this little back portion I don't think is done. I have to double check. I'm pretty sure that part is not done. I'm pretty sure I kind of skipped to that part. I need to go back and finish it, I think. I'll have to double check. But I'm pretty sure I skipped that part. I'm pretty sure I didn't build that end roof into it. I just did the main central dome is done and the I don't know how you put it. The catwalk or the foyer to the main central temple is all done, so but this is where I come to do this stuff. This is where I come to plan all this stuff. There's other stuff over there. There's more builds over that way. We might, I think actually that build right there is where we might go later, depending on how things go. We might go later, might go putz around with the work in that build. I don't know what that is. There's a lot of just chunks of world, like this is just a chunk of world, because I was gonna plan out a thing and then I was like, nope, we're just gonna do it live. We did it live on server, fuck it. Planning, there's some things I plan on planning and then I don't plan it. And I just do it on server and that's just how things work. But this build, this is the Torii Gate to the Eastern Temple. So that over there is actually the Southern Temple. This is, well, or the southern entrance to the pyramid, the Grand Viking Clan pyramid. This will be the Eastern entrance. Down in the water there is a entrance to an underwater tunnel. Eventually, gonna do some stuff underwater in there. Gonna make kind of a tunnel maze network sort of that goes this way, and this is where the main clan base would be. It'll go into there. It'll go into the temple. Actually, I guess technically, if you want to if you want to have a better understanding, this. So I hate how slow I am. I can go into spectator mode, but no, screw that. So that right there, that little guy right there, has a little platform from a long time ago trying to do a drowned farm. But that actually has been really useful as like a kind of base point. So that's a base point. Along with that's the wharf and everything. But if you come down here, you'll see that base point right there as well. There's the base point again. So you gotta take all this, imagine that up there, but it comes down underwater passage, comes through, and then goes into the temple down there. So, and that's kind of what we're doing. But I just wanted to stream. I know some people would be interested. I know some people are interested in my thought process in doing things. probably should have started this earlier because I already did a few things. So on our main community server, I posted a picture of this initial small arch, and I was like, does this look good or does another arch look good? And everyone was like, this arch looks great. So initially this arch was just, it was just the straight stone bricks. But then I looked at it and it's like, it's too square-y. It's too many just like, just straight squares. So what I did is I actually put in stone slabs here to make it more, not, I mean it's technically more gradual, you could say gradual, you could say it's not gradual, but it's still, it's smoother, it smooths out the 90-degree angles. Now here's a good point where it's just like, okay, what do you do here? You got, this is the one where you got a square on the edge of another square, and then at that point I threw in the thing, it's not going to be perfect. You could technically take that out and it'd feel a little bit better. I mean, even we could take that out, we could throw that in there, smooth that out, but then we got to come down the line and we kind of got to do that down the line a lot. And actually, you know what? Let's do that. But now now that looks too thin. So now we got to add it there. But then we come up here and it's like, well, now that looks too thin. So we got to add it there. And that's just my process. It's just a lot of just looking at things. Does it look thin? Does it look thick? If it's too thick, we can always, usually if things are too thick, it's easy to thin out, sort of. I actually like going the thinner route and then thickening it. Thickening it is a little bit easier. Then we just got some extra brace supports coming up. The vertical planes is a little rough. We can't do much about that unless we use some staircase. Yes, I'm just instead of going into the creative thing and finding staircase, I'm just going down to a lower one and grabbing it. Now here I put in a slab. I could have put in a staircase, and the staircases do help. I think honestly, when you're going on a vertical incline like this, the staircases help. But at the same time, you can't help these inclines. Like the staircase is only gonna do so much for you. But let's see how this looks. It may be a little dark. Let's drink some night potions. Like I can see what I'm doing, and you can see what I'm doing. We'll throw that. Oh, we'll throw that in there. Get a little extra support on top. That doesn't look too bad. Right there though. Yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking that. A little more like that. It's a little awkward. Now this is an instance of where it's like, well, it looks a little thick. But at the same time, we didn't have the staircase. It looked a little awkward. So I think for now that's just gonna stay as it is. This arch is also kind of weird in terms of its base point is the center pillar. I may just remove it completely. It may stay, it may not. We'll see what happens to it. But what I wanted to do was, this is a Torii gate, but it's kind of, it's my take on it. It's also, I want to put a little Nordicness into it. Honestly, there's not much Nordicness into it right now, but we're working on that. We're getting there. But I went with a 3 cross member thing, 3 cross members for it. They got special terms. I didn't look into it. I looked at them and I was like, well, that's cool. Every part of a Torii gate has like extra special, they all have names. Every part of a Torii gate has a name. But I'm not gonna go over that because I need to pull up the reference for it. But right now we're just kind of looking. We did a cylindrical member for this one. Now the question is how. Now, I mean, even those ones are those are very bland right now, but how do we spruce this up? I got some ideas. For one, I want to spruce up the connection point, how it attaches to the rest of the pillar. Go a little. Oh, I don't like that. Fortunately, we can't have staircases. They go horizontally, so that's out of the question. But we can do this to kind of bridge the gap, you could say. Just kind of come around here. And you got that. Come down here. Do a little more. Now here's where we could spice it up with just a little maybe. And bring in some of that. Doesn't look too bad. Now the thing is, we gotta take what we did down here and try and replicate it up here. We could do some copy and paste to easily, quickly do that. I might. Try and... Yeah, okay, so copy and paste and all that's the fun jazz that is creative. I usually don't... A little bit harder. It's a little bit harder to do vertically. There we go. There's that. Now the thing is, we got this area here. Got a little bit of a weird spot here. Go like that. And actually, I'm gonna grab a slab. Like that, we'll go like that, we'll go like that. Now we're kind of mirroring what we got on top. A little bit. Got that guy there, that guy there. And kind of build it. Building out, it's gonna be a little rough. What I think I can work with this. Here I might just. Here's where I do this. These kinds of verticals are fairly easy because I can kind of come like this, and then I can come over here, do this. I can just go like that. To kind of bring that in there. I can do that. That doesn't look too bad. Now we get to try and copy. We gotta take all this and we gotta copy it to the top. Not too bad. This is actually not. This is somewhat a little bit easier because we're gonna just come like that, go like that. Stop there. Stop it there. Stop there. And there. And then we copied it. Easy peasy. But I still want to tie in. I want to tie in these structures a little bit. I'm sure there's a command to make that easier, but I've never been bothered to figure that out. And in CatCraft we won't have that issue anyway, so. There's that angle. You kind of have like this is basically a structure to emphasize how it's connected, sort of. You can come in like that, come in like that. Actually kind of like that, like how that brings it out a bit. Yeah, that looks good. It kind of brings it out. Doesn't bring it out too much, but it doesn't, not too far back. It's grabbing onto the structure. Now one thing I've been trying to think of, how do we do an end cap for this? And now it technically sticks out, which I'm actually okay with. Originally I wouldn't have wanted to stick out, but seeing how it is now, I think, excuse me, I think sticking out works out well. But actually, let's do this, because we need to copy this whole thing over. So, this is where it's really fun. We're going to do slow, cuboid, make sure we got the cuboid selected. Now, we're gonna go up there. Actually gonna go down here. Nope, not down there. We're gonna go down there. We have that whole structure selected. That whole structure is selected. And now we just come down here. We stand, technically you don't have to stand in a corner point like this. You can actually, as long as when you do this, you stand in the exact same location through all of it, you don't have to stand in the corner. But I always like to stand in the corner just to keep myself on the same page. So stand in the corner, / we do the copy. So we copy our selected area, then we do / flip, so that we flip it, and it basically, whatever direction you're facing from the selected thing, it kind of flips it 180, basically. Not even upside down, it flips it 180 horizontally, so it turns it around. So we do the flip, And you can actually flip it up, back, down. You can flip it different directions. But I always just keep to the basic flip. And then we do paste. And we paste it. And we come over here and look at that. Our little joint piece is all copied over from the other side. Now the question is, how does it look with that joint piece on both sides? The sun is in our eyes. We're gonna deselect as well because those grid lines with the World Edit CUI, which is what I'm using, you can see it through any sort of block, so it can get kind of blocks things. But looking at what we got here, I'm liking what we got. I'm liking it. It's looking good. It's looking good. And this is what I do a lot. And this is a lot of what I do is I just fly around it, and I'm just looking at it, looking for different angles. How does it look? I want to take a look at how it looks from all the angles. Now it will look quite different. So you probably noticed half of the thing is not here, and that's simply because I'm going to copy all of this and flip it across. And I have points specifically set for this action. You know, we'll take a look at what does this look like once we flip it and we fill in both sides basically. So let's go to here, and we still got the cuboid selected because I know I still have the cuboid selected. If you're ever not sure, just do it again. It doesn't hurt. But you just do it again. Doesn't hurt anything. I know I got it selected, so you go to one corner that I put out in space, and then come down here is the other corner that I put. So now this entire structure is selected. Now this is an interesting part actually. So I'm gonna double check something here. I believe this will be big enough to select everything when it flips over. But this will showcase you. It doesn't matter where you are as long as you don't move your copy and paste stuff. Will just do what you want it to do. So we're gonna do copy. We're gonna do the flip. And we're gonna do the paste. And there we go. Okay. So this is a good learning point that I screwed up on. Yeah. Okay, so we made a mistake. This is a good teaching point. We made a mistake. We made a oopsie whoopsie fucky wucky. We can fix this though. All you have to do is slash undo. And it undoes everything. As soon as the game decides to load. This is also very much a stress test for my computer, as I am running a Minecraft server on my computer. I am also streaming on the computer and playing Minecraft with shaders at max quality. So the computer's taking a beating right now. It should be okay though. I don't see it. That doesn't seem to be struggling too much. Um, I actually didn't need to come down here. I just need to come up here real quick. We need to come to the edge of where we slit everything down. That was the issue. That copy and paste point is for copying this whole half of build and pasting it to the other side over there. That's gonna stick it out. So how about we? Yes, we're also at the build limit height, so that'll be fun. Ah, you clicked the wrong one. That's okay. Do that. This is where I actually really wish I had an elytra. Then we could easily just swoop down over there and get to the point we want to get to. There we go. Yeah, and we can just come over here. We can stand here on the edge. / copy. / flip. / paste. So just flip it in whatever direction you're facing. There we go. And it's coming into view. And there we go. We have a full look at what is going on here. I don't necessarily want to do the deselect right now, because we're gonna do a full presentation of this. And our little marker got removed, which is interesting. I didn't think that would happen. Actually, I did know that would happen. I do remember now, I was not supposed to select that marker during this whole process. I was supposed to build off of that marker and have that marker not be in the selection zone. But that's okay. And that's okay. You can just come over here. Build off this way. I don't know about anyone else, but I love using Glowshroom for my kind of layout stuff. Now, I think a lot of people also, there's a lot of other people, I think, that would say use a block that you don't like using, that you don't normally use in a build as your layout piece, because then you can kind of just remove all of that once you're done getting the main structure done, and you can just basically the Glowshroom is used as like a scaffolding, and it's basically like, yeah, like once you're done with all the scaffolding, you can just remove it and call it good. But I like using it a lot. It brightens up areas that would normally be dark. Just makes things a lot easier. Okay, so now that we have our full structure selected, this is going to be one that's interesting because the build is not symmetrical by one block. It's actually 2 blocks, so it's in between 2 blocks that the build is symmetrical. It's a dual, it's 2 blocks wide, it's a 2 block center, it's a 2x2 center, not a 1 by 1 center. So this is where it gets interesting because we gotta take it. It's symmetrical by 2x2 one way and a 1x1 the other way. So go here, and on this block, we're gonna do copy. We're gonna do the flip, but now we're gonna move across the center line to this side. And now we do the paste. And now we wait for the system to react. We just wait for it to load. It's gotta load. How many blocks was that? 5,800,000 and almost 5.9 million blocks. And it loaded it. And to double check that everything went according to plan, which it didn't, because we were looking at the top of the structure that was not aligned properly. It didn't. So we get to do the undo again. So it was there. Don't mind it. It's gonna disappear. But why edit? That was a bad edit. I should come down here to where it actually counts. These two blocks are lined up with the center of the build. This is where I really have to come and do the slash copy. Slash flip. Flipped it. Step across the threshold. And the paste. Now, that's actually interesting that it did that. Well, no, not really actually. Considering of how and where we copied things. Okay. I'm actually gonna undo this again. Cause I don't like what's going on there. Something fucky wucky's going on. And here you can see the lower structure of the base. We're building CatCraft. Won't be too bad. Might get lit up more later on. Again, now technically for the most, I'm gonna copy it over here for you, but I'm not. This isn't going to be what actually happens here. Actually, technically, when I come to there, there, we got that selected. There we go, now that looks proper. Yeah, this is technically all getting cut off. Should all be replaced. But this... Okay, so this we gotta fill in here. Because for whatever reason, there's a small opening. There we go. And it's all lined up. Okay. Now we should be good to go. Our copy line is split down the center of these two guys, which is what we want. So come in here, do it again. The flip you can kind of do wherever you want, just as long as you're doing it in the same direction that you want it to flip. Flip it there. On our block, we're looking good. Now we should be able to do our paste. Should paste it. We should get dual lines. There we go. We got our dual lines. That's what I want to see. I want to see 2 lines for the center. And now we have a representation of what the end product is going to eventually kind of look like. Let's do the decel. This is what people are going to see coming from the east towards the Viking homeland. Now I plan on doing a lot of other little things that go around it, that wrap around. I will kind of want to do a little bit of things that wrap around the pillars. Some other ornate stuff. Nothing too crazy ornate. Because again, when you look at a Torii gates are very simple. They're not super fancy. They don't need to be super fancy. And that's how this one I think would be appropriate to do it as is. You know, it's got some flair to it a little bit with the 3 bars going across it and stuff and whatnot. I might do some centered dealios and things and whatnot, but for the most part, it doesn't need to be super grand. The size of it is the grand part. We can just build off of that. So yeah, that's just a little bit of my thought process. I normally don't, at least for me, but I think a lot of other builders, we don't need to like fill out, when you're doing a lot of copy and paste, you don't need to fill out the whole thing every time. You can do a quarter section, which is how I like to build. I do a quarter, and then I flip it to fill the half. How does the half look? If the half looks good, then we do a full. You know, to see the final product. But I probably only I'll do a quarter to a half, maybe 2 or 3 times before I'll do a full. Before I see what a full ensemble looks like. And if you notice in the background, you'll notice this thing in the background. This was my attempt the first go around. A little wacky. This was actually much more intensive. because a we were using a large ellipsoid and a smaller ellipsoid to get two different types of curves going on here. And then we're doing walls. We're doing the walls of the ellipsoid, and then we had to hollow things out. So we're using different stuff and whatnot. You can kind of see here where it's an ellipsoid. You can see on the other side too as well, but you can see it's a little more intense. It would have been fun to build, it would have looked great, but at the same time, when you come on the outside, you have a huge flat wall. And that's just it's a little hard to work with. We could have worked with it, we could have filled it in. I also feel like it looks like the Stark Tower, and I was just like, no, that's meh. I did a lot of hand building on this section, aside from the general shape. The general shape, again, we did an ellipsoid, and just kind of took the curve from it. But then we just filled it in by hand. I mean, it looks good, but again, it's like if you build something and you don't like how it looks, but you put a lot of work into it, don't just go and delete it. Take it, do a //cut, cut it, so it, just like a file, cut it out, go somewhere else in your world, paste it, and save it for later. Because you never know when you come back and use it for something else. I know one thing with this structure is our centerpiece. Here's your extra something special here because these are, it's a 1:5:1 ratio, and this here does not match that. So I'm either gonna leave it like that, maybe do a little something special on the tips. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, that's looking pretty good. Now, honestly, sometimes the glow shrooms look really good. Until you look up close, and then they're like, meh. Like, oh, the glow shroom looks good, you know, from a distance, looks nice and thick, looks cool, and then it's like, and you look up close and it's all separated. So, I'm gonna leave it off there. We're gonna take a snapshot of this and just share it. I'm gonna leave it off there because it is late, and I was not planning on doing anything super long today, but just a little quick stream and just chilling. So, thank you. Might do this again. I don't know. Leave a comment. I don't know. You know, do whatever you want. But thank you for whoever watches this. Bye bye.